This program contains crazy material, including offensive language. Listening discretion is advised.
Running your own business as a voice actor is challenging, but there are other challenges outside the booth that everyday people deal with on a daily basis. Thanks for tuning in to Outpatient Therapy with our guest today, Mike Christensen, known to many as the Voice Monkey. Now, he's going to touch on a near and dear topic to him. And Mike, great having you on the show. This is episode 2. There's always going to be a 2. Welcome aboard.
I'm so excited. This is awesome. Exactly.
Yeah. I had to do it. In VO padded room fashion there.
Yeah, we have VO's padded room. It's more of a lighthearted comedy ride down somebody's journey. But this is going to be more serious. We're going to be touching on some serious topics. And let's talk about you and your struggle with your weight growing up. What were the factors going into that? How did it make you feel? And why don't you just talk about it?
When I grew up in the late 70s, 80s, when being fat was kind of a stigma back then. There wasn't the way the world is now. There's a lot more accommodations for larger individuals than there were back when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was a skinny little kid, and then I discovered pizza and video games and sitting on my ass. So it's just one of those things that you become sedentary and the pounds kind of come on, and you're eating a lot of processed food, a lot of pizza, going out to eat all the time, fast food, stuff like that. And it just, the pounds came on, and it was hard to get them off. And I was kind of like that since you see pictures of me in high school. I was always that kind of husky kid. You go to the store and you have to shop in the husky section for pants or for shirts or stuff like that. And that was tough back then. I mean, everything was tight. I think the best shape I was when I played football in high school, because I was working everything off. And then my parents split up and I stopped playing football and started to go to work because I had to make some money. And you stop that activity, but the eating continues. And we used to go to places. We'd go to the all-you-can-eat places. We'd go to places like, Applebee's has all-you-can-eat riblets. And we'd go there after work. And like, how many can you eat? And we challenge each other and just pound as much as we possibly could. And, you get older, your metabolism slows down. Yeah. Not for the wings. But we go and any all you can eat pizza places, buffets at the beach, stuff like that. Yeah, you just pound it, put it away. The pounds came on, and yeah, it was CC's. We'd go to Myrtle Beach a lot in college, and they had all the there in Myrtle Beach. They've got all you can eat buffets, and I got to get my money's worth. And you just go and eat, and it's never the right things you eat. It's always the rolls or the desserts or the Wendy's Super stuff. Bar way back in the day. I'm sure you guys remember that. And
now we're going back. CC's
taco bar. We had
taco bar. Yeah, buddy.
You can make salad.
Yeah, the Italian part and salad.
Oh yeah, the Italian.
The only good thing about the salad was they had the pudding. Yeah, they had the pudding on the salad.
They had Jello too, I think. They had the Jello.
The 3,000 calorie salad.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So what year did your mom and dad break
it was
up?
just,
as far as your mom and dad splitting up and you having to go to work full time, how old were you?
I was, 14 going on 15. So around there. So it was like 1990, 89, 90, somewhere around there. Started working after school, and because we had to help support my mom, and it was just one of those things where life, it was, and you find comfort in food. I mean, it's just, it's one of those things like you just love it. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
and I'd go to my friend's house.
A lot of different, You go
through a lot of changes.
They had soda at my friend's house, and
I was gonna say it's a pivotal moment, and you're learning new things as a teenager. You got a lot of questions, and then this happens. I could see that having an effect on someone, or you, or anybody actually.
Yeah, it was tough.
Leading up to that, though, you said you were eating as a young child. And you weren't doing much. Like you weren't playing football. You didn't play football until middle school, or was it? Did you start in elementary school? I mean, how'd that all?
It was 8th grade. I played football in 8th grade.
Okay.
Played soccer before that, but just wasn't a sports kid. Didn't really do a lot.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed football, and I would have kept it. But I just didn't have couldn't afford to do it, and didn't have the time, and had to get to work. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Life throws you a curveball, and you do the best you can.
Where'd you work?
I worked at an animal hospital after school,
okay.
scooping dog poop and stuff like that. So
here's a question.
But,
you watch
yeah,
Dr. Paul?
Yeah.
My
No.
daughter loves that show.
Oh, is that a vet?
Hi, Dr. Paul. He's a Disney show on Disney Plus, and
Yeah.
he is a vet. Yeah.
Oh,
And,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
He checks in the cavities of horses, and my daughter loves that show. Anyway, when you were a kid, right, and you're growing up, and you're in elementary school, what
Mhm.
was there a moment that you were like, wow, this really hurt my feelings, man? What? It doesn't feel right.
Maybe not that early on. There have been several moments in my life that I think a normal person would look at it and go, boy, that's got to be a rock bottom moment, or it's got to be hey man, you need to change your life at this moment. I had several of those throughout my life, and I would go, oh man, I probably should make a change, do something for a little while, and then it wouldn't work, and then I would just be back to where I was. My addiction to food and sugar and the kind of stuff was so strong that it's sometimes it's worse, alcoholism or something like that, to where you don't have to drink or don't have to do drugs, but you got to eat.
Yeah.
So why not enjoy what you're eating? And it's mainly just the overeating and that's, I guess is pretty much the most part, the comfort thing, and then just eating too much is a big issue that I had. But yeah, there were several moments. I went to Six Flags here in Atlanta when I was, I can't remember.
You were at Six Flags.
Yeah, I was either late high school, college. I can't remember when. But I went on the Georgia Scorcher, and I didn't fit. I didn't fit in the car. They couldn't get the little safety thing down, so I had to get off in front of everybody else, and that was probably one of the most humiliating times in my life. And I didn't ride a roller coaster again until this year, just because it was, well, I'm not going to go through that humiliation of going there, being embarrassed in front of everybody. And recently I was at Dollywood, and I saw two people in the same line get kicked off the cart because they wouldn't fit. And it was one of those things. I think America as a country, I think we've diverged a little bit. I think we're either super fat or we're super in shape, because I see people in the gym all the time, these high school kids in the gym that are ripped out of their minds. And then I go to Dollywood and I see 500-pound people walking around on the little carts and eating, sugar fried whatever.
Hey, Mike, go to Whitewater.
Oh, it's like beached whales. Yeah, it's bad.
Oh, yeah, we're not trying to make fun of that, but it's like, some people wear two pieces, and it's like, whoa. Anyway, but
I did say it's Hollywood. I said there is no limit to how big your gut is as to where you wear a halter top there, because there were people that were wearing what they shouldn't have been wearing, and I wish I had 1/8 of their confidence. Yeah, I wish I had 1/8 of their confidence that I could wear.
Well, that's the thing, some people just don't give a about anybody else's thoughts, and that's great. If you can live your life like not caring about what others think, because so many people do, I think, we'd be better off. But, you, as you've grown older and you got into voice acting and, you're going through this journey called life, you decided, hey, well, I need to make a change here. I mean, I'm not feeling well. I'm lacking energy. But then, COVID hit. And that all threw us for
Right.
a loop, man. And so it hit you pretty hard as well, right?
Yeah, I had gotten to about 320 pounds, and I stayed there for about 20 years. Just kind of hovered around, just kind of moseying along. I didn't get any, more, didn't get any less, and I kind of knew what size clothes would fit. I knew what would fit in your safe clothes. And then COVID came around, and it was nothing but sitting at home and eating. And so I gained another, 20, 30 pounds after that. And my knees hurt, my back hurt, and I wasn't enjoying life. I wasn't able to do much of anything. I didn't want to go anywhere because clothes, the clothes I had weren't fitting anymore. And I was like, I need something's got to change. I'm embarrassed the way I look. I'm embarrassed with and I can't participate a lot in what my kids are doing, and I needed to do something. And I found a friend of mine who I found out had gastric bypass surgery, and he went from 410 to 175 now. And I was able to talk to him and ask him all my insane questions. And, the good, the bad, the ugly, like, tell me about it. Tell me. And he told me everything I wanted to know. And I was convinced, like, all right, this could actually work. You'd always heard about gastric bypass surgery, but you're like, wow, that's the easy way out. And it's one of those things that, no, it's not. But I went for my physical, and he said, have you considered weight loss surgery? And I was like, oh my God, yes. I mean, that's what I'm here to talk to you about. And he wrote me a referral. Off I went, and that was October of 20 when I had my consult at my regular doctor, and then I had my consult at the bariatric place in April of 21, and had surgery in August 6th of 2021. And here I am, 100 pounds lighter.
Nice.
Now, there's a lot of things that can go on, good and bad, with the surgery. I mean, you were walk through the motions as far as what could be some of the problems post-surgery, having your body's trying to react to this rapid weight loss. Now, did you feel any body aches?
Right.
Were you feeling tired, dry skin? Were you losing your hair? Any of that going on?
No, that was something that they talked about. You losing your hair. I never did. I think I'm losing my hair anyway, so it kind of comes with the territory. But it's one of those things that the surgery itself is risky because most people who have the surgery obviously are morbidly obese, and going under anesthesia, being morbidly obese is always anesthesia is always a risk. But being super fat and going under anesthesia triples the risk or whatever. They do a lot of testing before surgery. They do a lot of cardiac testing, blood work. They do a barium swallow, and they check everything with x-rays. And there's a lot of testing you got to do before they will sign off to do the surgery. It's not, you don't just walk in and they go, all right, get them on the table, let's go. And there's a lot before that. The surgery itself is actually outpatient, which I was completely amazed by. Showed up at the doctor 6:30 in the morning. Yeah, I was the first one in the morning. I was home by 12:30, 1 o'clock. Done. Walked out of the office on my own. Wife drove me home. Obviously, I can't drive when you're under anesthesia. But, spent the rest of the day on the couch. But you got to get up every hour, and you got to walk. And you got to get the gas out of your system. It's done laparoscopically. And the doctor that did mine has done, hundreds and thousands of them. And it was amazing. I mean, it felt like I had done 1,000 sit-ups after the surgery. My stomach was sore. I had 5 little incisions across my stomach that they had little Band-Aids on, and
right on. Yeah.
It was all good. And it was from then on, it was, okay, your diet is now going to change for the rest of your life. And people tell me like, oh, you can't have soda anymore. Oh, you can't have sugar anymore. You can't have cake, or you can't, eat a whole pizza or something. Like, oh, your life must be terrible. And I always tell them, like, listen, I've had 40 some odd years of enjoyment of food and of my life. It's my time to grow up and to kind of pay the piper. And yeah, I enjoy my life a lot more now than I did beforehand. It's one of those things like, you wait, and then you do it, and man, I should have done it 10 years ago. But you can't change it. I've done it now. I feel great. I miss some of the things, but I don't miss some of the other things. I haven't had a soda in over a year. I can't have anything carbonated, and can't have more than whatever 20 grams of sugar at a time or something like that. So it's a very small amount.
Well, I feel like a lot of that stuff too.
At the labels now. Go ahead.
I feel a lot of that stuff too. Like when you're drinking sodas or whatever you're doing, it makes you feel like crap as you get older, especially when you hit your 40s. A lot of things change. Eating a double cheeseburger at Wendy's affects you differently in your 40s than it did in your 20s, right? And not to mention, when you did this surgery, you had to be thinking about your family and your longevity as far as your quality of life. I mean, we want to live longer as we get older. People want to call us 40-year-olds old people when they're in their 20s, but when they get there, they start realizing, well, damn, it's either I take care of myself or I'm going to go to an early grave. But the surgery is only one step.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, go to any retirement home. How many morbidly obese 80-year-olds do you see there? Right. You don't. And It's one of those, you got to think about your kids and think about your life. And if you want an addiction, it's an addiction. I mean, there's no two ways about it. You make a choice and you eat the bad stuff. Nobody ever got skinny drinking Diet Coke. And as much as I love Coke, I drank a ton of it. I love Coke. Everybody knows that about me. But I haven't had it in just over a year now because I just can't have it. So it's one of those things like, well, I can't. Moving on. And, like, oh, look at that. I went down my pant size 10 inches, on my pant size. And I'm wearing clothes now that I'm like, wow, look at that. I don't have thoughts about what am I going to wear to blah, blah, blah. I've got lots of clothes that I bought a long time ago with the intention of when I lose weight, now I can actually wear them. And even some of those I've had to get rid of because they're too big. And it's one of those things that gets made a lot of aspects of my life better. And yes, it's mostly the surgery itself is not the fix. I mean, it's not the one like you do the surgery and boom, you're good. I'm about 1,800 to 2,200 calories a day. And sometimes it's a struggle to get there because when you're eating better food, it doesn't have as much calories as the double burger from Wendy's that has 1,100 calories in it. But you're right. After a certain age, you feel like shit after you eat super fatty, calorie greasy food. So I have a lot more energy than I used to, which is good.
And you need that energy to incorporate exercise into your regimen too, because to keep this weight off, I mean, the surgery, like I said, was the first part. This is like Rocky and Apollo Creed going the distance. You got to go. You got to figure out how to eat right. And then you got to figure out how to incorporate exercise into your game plan. And was that a smooth transition? I mean, did you struggle through that a little bit? Why don't you explain?
I'd always gone to the gym. I like going to the gym. It's fun. Problem with me, I'd always end up hurting myself. I'd end up going to the gym, throw my back out, or I'd, pull a muscle or something. Then you'd get off. It's just getting in the habit is the hard part. And now that I'm in the habit, I go 4 to 5 days a week, and it was like I got stronger and I would lift weights, but you could see the muscles because of the layer of fat over everything. And now things are starting to change a little bit. I'm starting to, oh, look, there's muscles over there. And oh, look, there's veins over there that weren't there before. And it's one of those, like, I grew up in the 80s watching like Schwarzenegger and Stallone and these action stars, these huge guys, with the big muscles and everything. And I love that. And I always want to be like that. And now it's, I'm a little older, so it's not quite getting there, but it is closer than I've ever been. And I'm very excited about it. And I'm always like, look at my wife, like, oh, look at that little vein right there. And she's just whatever. But but to me, it's in my mind, it's like I'm a kid again, looking at those posters of Schwarzenegger and where he is just gigantic, and it's nice getting, like, I can tell, like, it just repasses, like, he lost as much as me, and it's like, I know that, they're super. My daughter always comes up and tries to see how far, she can get her arms on me, and now I keep my arms around you, but how far up can I grab my wrist when with the weight you've lost and stuff like that. So it's definitely a good thing.
That's cool. Now you have to. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was going to say you have to be. Now let's back up. You have to be in the right mindset to even go through the surgery, or else it's going to fail. I mean, that's. I know.
Right.
For me there was a bottom, I guess. Mine was, PTSD, and then coming back from the war, and then getting divorced. I hit a place where, I gained, 150 pounds or whatever. And, so I'm thinking to get, where you're at is you need to overcome that hurdle and be mentally ready to go through that, that transformation. And I think that's the only way it's going to work. Would you agree?
And I would. I was there. I was talking to that guy. Really helped me. It's one of the things, like, oh, it happened to somebody. I can talk to them, and he can be honest, and he wasn't embarrassed about any questions or anything. And you could just talk and talk and talk. And it was one of those things. It made it real. It made it like, oh, this is possible. Like, okay, that's how it works. It's questions you can ask somebody who's had it. Not something you would feel comfortable asking your doctor about, but asking a peer who's been through it and he's had success, and you go, all right, let's give it a shot. And a year out, I can still remember coming home from the doctor thinking, like, God, where am I going to be a year from now? I'll never get to a year. A year is so far away. And here we are. And being in the mindset is certainly important. If you go through insurance, they have you do some psychological counseling before you have the surgery to make sure that you're kind of there. I think there are people who have the surgery when they're like 20. It's just like, I need to lose some weight. And they have the surgery. And it's like, no. You need to. It's something you definitely need to take it seriously. And it is certainly not the easy way. Nothing what I've done in the last year has been what I would consider easy. It's not just a magic pill you take and all of a sudden you drop pounds. It's a struggle, and it's a daily. It's like any other rehab from any addiction. It's a daily struggle with me, not to go get a handful of garage that everybody else drinks.
Right.
And
but it starts.
You fight it every day.
Yeah, but it starts with, like I said, the mindset of, I'm tired of this. I'm sick of being sick. Or what is the old saying? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm going to make a change, and then following through with it, and then that's the mindset, like I said, I think you have to have, or else, like you said, you're going to fail. You're going to, try to sneak in this or that, or when you get depressed, it's going to go right back to the same old, unless that. Go ahead.
And to anybody considering the surgery, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions. It's not for everybody. I don't want to encourage everyone, go do it. I mean, it worked for me. Everybody's different, but it doesn't cost much to have a consultation with the surgeon and just ask questions or just talk to him. Talk to me. I don't charge anything to, I wish I could. No, I don't charge anything to for people to ask me questions. And I've had several people reach out to me and say, hey, I've been thinking about doing the whatever. And I post updates on Facebook, how things are going, more, not as sporadic as they used to be, because it was like every week I would post it on, now it's not a report each week. Nobody wants to hear that, but it's I've learned a lot last year. I've learned that what it's too much. You don't eat as much as you think you do. You go into a restaurant and it's, I want chicken. It's too juicy, grilled chicken. You don't eat 2 chicken breasts at one time. And there's a lot of like, you're gonna leave, stuffed. You're not gonna leave hungry from our restaurant. And it's like, no, you're eating 2,000 calories at one meal, and your body is like, you get that first chip, and your brain is automatically going, when's that one coming? It's that weird sugar serotonin kind of thing in your brain that trips, and it just makes you eat and eat.
Right, absolutely.
I know when I eat too much nowadays, I get bloated. My stomach just starts popping out like I'm, pregnant, and I just can't. It's like hard to breathe. It's just not even fun to overeat anymore, because you pay the price. And so, it's always good to do things in moderation. But like you say, when it's a habit, if you're a habit forming person where you form habits and get addicted to it, or you're just addicted to food, it's just really hard to break the chains. But like you said, you have to have something big happen in your life. When I started working out consistently 2 years ago, they were telling me I had a heart attack in the ER. And so I told myself I was going to work out, get back in shape, lose some weight, and try to feel better.
That was scary. I remember that.
Like you said, Jim, there's got to be something. Sometimes it's got to be something. Hopefully it's not the final thing, though.
Right.
You want to have an opportunity to prove doubters wrong.
Well, God, I should have done this.
But at the same token, Mike, do you have anybody that, when you're struggling with certain things outside of your family, do you have anybody that you can bounce things off of? Like somebody that's been through the same thing that you have, just like an alcoholic needs a sponsor. Do you have anything like that?
Sure. Yeah. Nutritionist that I can talk. She's always available. I can talk to the nurses every day. But I've got a guy I talk to pre-op. I talk to him and ask him questions. There's a lot more in the beginning of like, hey, did you go through this or something weird? Or I can share my victories with him and stuff like that. It's kind of like a sponsor. He's doing good. He's been a couple years down, 200 whatever pounds he's lost, and it's amazing. And, babe, you talked about you gained some odd pounds. You think, oh my God, that's a lot. It's easy to gain 100 pounds. People think it's, if you're a taller guy or you get it. I mean, it would be semesters college, like, I'm up 30 pounds this semester. It's like, good grief.
Yeah,
how did that even happen? You're like, start fitting anymore.
Yeah, well, I know, like I said, I was running 6 miles a day, in the Army and all. I was always in shape. But like I said, I got knocked down with that. It was just one of those snowball effects that it really took me out. About 8-10 years ago. And there's a downward slope for a good 8 years or so, and I finally ended up stopped drinking 3 plus years ago, and so now I'm finally getting it back squared away. I've lost 65 already pounds, and but I know it didn't come up overnight, so it's not going to go away overnight. But I just had to get over that hurdle.
Mike, there's other people out there that are probably thinking like they want to do this surgery or they want to change their life, and they can relate where you came from and they need help. Would you be willing to help somebody in need and be a sponsor for them?
100%. I mean, it's getting healthy is very important, and especially at a certain age. And if anyone has any questions, put it by the side. My number's on there. You can call me, email me. do whatever you got to do. But yes, I'm 100% open to help anybody.
I wasn't sure. There was a hell of a dramatic pause there between your answer. We were like, is it going to help?
Hell no. I'm not helping
That's
anybody.
fair. No, yeah, no, screw those people. No,
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm an open book. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, this show hopefully uncovers other thing. It's just not voice acting that's challenging to many. It's the others. There's other things in life that are challenging on top of being a voice actor and running a business. So, and this is one of the things that you gotta face head on, and you gotta stick to your guns. And just like with running your business, you gotta hold yourself accountable. You gotta rinse and repeat, because going to the gym every day, not every day you're gonna feel like it. I don't care how much weight you're losing. I don't care how you're feeling. There's gonna be days where like, oh man, I really don't want to go. But then you push yourself to go, because at the end of the day, when you come out of there, okay, I checked that off. That's something I need to do, and I feel better about doing it. It's just like with your business. If you're gonna audition for 7 jobs or 10 jobs or whatever many jobs, you get it done and you check it off. That part of your day is complete.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And
I enjoy going to the gym now. It's fun. It's something that I look forward to. And if I don't, during the summer it was a little difficult because I would go during the day when the kids were at school. And now when the kids were at home, I had to go at night. So that was a little difficult. But now I'm back to going during the day, and it's not as crowded. And
what a relief.
It's fun. It's fun to get in there and work out for an hour or so. And then I feel like I've done something and I can come home and enjoy the rest of my day. Have a snack.
Not to mention like the habits that you're creating with your weight loss journey. They translate well in lots of areas of your life. When you're doing this, when you hold your feet to the fire, you are setting an excellent example for your kids to, focus, get at it, have a plan, get at it, and stay consistent. Because like you said, it doesn't happen. Nothing happens overnight. Not for many. There's some lucky few that things just happen with a snap of the finger, but it takes time. And exercise takes time. Like you, I've been working out 4 days a week for 2 years. I haven't missed a beat, but I know okay, now next year, maybe my abs come in even more, or maybe, I get stronger in this area or that area. But It's also good for your mind. Now that you're losing the weight and you're seeing the difference, your mindset is changing from when you were a kid. You're releasing a lot of that anguish that you had back growing up, and the hurt you had. You're able to release that now because you are doing better for yourself.
That's a good point. You do set a better example for your kids in terms of your working and your achieving. But also, I try to tell my kids, don't get into the situation that I was in. It's so much better not to be there than get there than have to fix it. My son is super skinny, and I'm very happy, and I'm trying to keep him active because his diet's not the best now. But it's one of those things where I was like, you shopping for pants, it's easy for him because he's got such a tiny waist. And it was so hard for me growing up, going to the Husky section of Sears or going, wherever. Now, like I said, there's more accommodations at the big and tall store. You can buy a shirt up to 6X, and that's like a moo-moo. It's huge. But there's just, that's the way a lot of people are now. And it's a lot of accommodations in terms of, people fitting in places and stuff like that. When I was growing up, they didn't have test cars at the beginning of the line in a roller coaster to make sure you would fit. You would just go. And now they're test cars.
And it's nice now that it's more widely accepted to talk to, somebody about it. We were latchkey kids, man. We had an issue. We just dealt with it. There was no, what I'm saying? Oh, my fucking feelings are hurt. There was none of that shit.
Right.
People,
suck it up.
We didn't have a safe space or nothing like that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Either.
Our mind was our safe space. And we did whatever we could to deal with whatever we were going through. And, now I read something the other day that said you can now when you go to the doctor, request to not be weighed. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, you don't have to get weighed, which is such horseshit.
Important factor.
It's horseshit, because it's like, oh, it's just, I'm here for the flu. Do I need to get weighed? And it's like, yes, you need to get weighed. And because you feel uncomfortable doesn't mean you get to just do whatever you want. And one of those things that, like, we need to feel a little uncomfortable to make that change. You can't be, if you're in a shitty situation, if you're totally comfortable in that situation, what motivates you to change? It's one of those things. Like
outside, out of mind. That's what they're, that's what they're trying to accomplish, basically.
You just ignore the problem, and I'm super fat, but I'm beautiful because I'm super fat, and it's like, okay,
wait till
great.
you hit 50 and 60.
I look good as long as I don't turn to the fucking side. Stuff like that. It's like,
we used to, when we got calls at 911 calls, there were some times where we had to go get a reinforced stretcher, go get a tarp, go put the tarp under the person because the person never got out of bed, went to the bathroom in the bed, had to go drag the person out with 15 different people to get them on the stretcher.
Yeah.
They just didn't take care of themselves. They didn't care. People give up so much in life. I've seen it so many times. But that's ridiculous. You got to get weighed. You got to face things. Reality. It's reality, right?
That's it. Yes,
and if you're guilty about getting on a scale, then there's a problem.
Yeah, you're gonna get knocked down in life. Period. That is it. We're gonna get knocked. It's how we get. It's getting back up. It's finding that strength to get back up. And it took me a while to do that, but it's there. You gotta want it.
Yeah, and for me, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I know you hear that all the time, but for me to finally get better and to be where I'm at now, and hopefully we'll never be there again. It's one of those things that, yes, if you're uncomfortable, if you need to make a change, it may not be surgery, it may be something else, but whatever you can do that will work, it's a good idea to at least talk about it, at least get it out in the open, at least face yourself in the mirror. If you just ignore it and sit in your room and slam heroin or cheeseburgers, whatever your vice is, then
or both,
you're not going to get better. You're going to get dragged out by 35 firemen with a crane one day. And I don't want that for you. I want you to be healthy and participate in life. And once you can participate in life, once you look at a chair in somebody's driveway at a barbecue and not have thoughts about, is that chair going to hold me? Then life is so much better. It's so much better. You can get out there like, yes, you can, without having a fucking heart attack. You can participate in life. And that's what I want for everybody to be able to do, is just participate in life. So if I can help anybody in any way, I'm there for you guys.
If somebody's looking to get help, not including yourself, we understand that. But if they're looking for help from a doctor, is there a website they go to, or is there anything in particular they need to go check out?
You can talk to your regular doctor. Go have a physical. It's probably the first step for a lot of people, and just bring it up and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about weight loss surgery," and I don't think there's a doctor around that would be like, "Weight loss surgery? Are you crazy? You're not doing that." They'll talk to you, and I'm sure Google, you find support groups in your area. I'm sure there's Facebook groups of people who've had the surgery. I've seen lots of people online that or when I shared my story online, there was a lot of people that were like, "Oh, my aunt had it, or I had it 25 years ago." These people you didn't know that had it. It's like anything that happens in your life, whether it's traumatic or great. I so-and-so committed suicide, or I adopted a child from China. You have all these people going, I adopted a child from, you find that support group, and you find that the internet gets us all closer together. So you can find those people out there to help you and to lean on and to ask questions.
You talk about posting on social media, and you say it doesn't have a big impact, but I was in a meeting with you and you conducted it, and it had an impact about the majority of the people that were there. I followed your journey through your weight loss. Are you going to continue on, like you said, posting and showing your wins and trying to connect with other people that are inspired by you?
Yes, I am. I'm still going to post stuff because I'm proud of what I'm doing. It's one of those, like, I'm finally okay with sharing. People talk about, oh, can you talk about your, being overweight and stuff like that. Now that I've done something about it, sure, I can talk about it. You don't want to talk about it when you're super morbidly obese. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm so fat, it's great. But when you've done something about it, that's when you want to open up and share to people. And like I said, I've had a few people send me messages saying, I'm thinking about it. Can I ask you questions or things like that. And I've reached out to people that I've heard on podcasts. One guy was 600 pounds, I think. He's 6'7", and he was like 500-600 pounds. And now he's about where I am now. He's about 200, 250 now. And did it through he had his surgery a long time ago. He had to drive to, I want to say Missouri or Nebraska. I think it was Nebraska, because there's nobody here, because he was so huge that would or could do it in Atlanta. So he had to drive 1,000 miles to have it done. But he shared with me some of his victories and some of his things he's been through and how much happier he is now. And I'm talking to him like, yeah. And it makes you feel great. It makes you feel like you're part of a club. I've got my 1-year recheck on Monday, the 15th of August. And I'm going to walk in there like I'm big time and whatever. Like, hey, what's up? How you doing, guys? Yeah. Like I'm part of the club now. And, the healthy, normal person club, which is weird to be a part of.
How has it helped you in voiceover?
I think probably I still sound the same, which I was a little concerned about, but talking to that guy that I talked to, I talked to him when he was fat and I talked to him when he was skinny and he still sounded the same. It's not like your voice changes, but at the same time, I feel like I could be more outgoing. I went to VO Atlanta this year. Like, you know what? I'm going to look nice. I'm going to wear a nice shirt and not have to worry about, wearing big fat clothes. And you feel that stigma when you're the fattest person in the room and you come in and everybody's like, oh, look at the fat guy. Cause you're never going to look nice.
The voiceover, you have more energy and you don't have to expand your gait as much.
I was going to say breathing
stand
longer.
longer.
I'm sure that,
Yeah, standing longer. That's the key. So you got any final thoughts? If there's somebody out there that's like, man, I really want to lose weight, but I don't know if I can do it. You got any final thoughts for that person?
I'd say reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to you. And like I said, if I can do it, anybody can do it. The only thing stopping you is your own brain at this point. Yeah, exactly. If you want to make a change, make the change. Just do it and don't look back, because you can't regret anything you've done in the past. All you can do is worry about the future and make changes now, and you'll get there. It's not a quick process. It's more of they always say a marathon rather than a sprint. I hate that expression.
People get tired of that, but that's the reality. Right?
Yeah, it's true. I hate it, but it's true. And just realize that there are things that you can make changes in your life, and you will if you do have the surgery, there are things you won't be able to have anymore. You're going to have to take vitamins for the rest of your life. You're going to have to take calcium. And if you're eating as much protein as I am, you have to take fiber, or else, things don't, especially at my age. And it's the rewards for me far outweigh any drawbacks or anything that could have happened. And, my surgeon, I highly recommend him. Smooth. The process was smooth. The recovery was fantastic. No, like I said, I felt like I did a bunch of sit-ups, but there was no getting up and pain. I can't handle this. There was none of that. It was fine. Everything was great. Yeah, it was a big change, but I stuck to the plan because I knew this was my best and last chance to lose this weight. And if this didn't work, I didn't know where it was going to go from here. So follow the plan. I'm glad you did it. And it'll work. Me too. Yeah.
What about you, Jim? You got anything else to say?
No, it's been a great show. I appreciate you coming on, Mike. It's been great, man.
Thanks for having me. I could talk about myself for a long time in this respect. But yeah,
I hear
exactly.
You. Because, hey, the reality is, as a voice actor, that is very challenging, but there's other things out there in life that are challenging as well. And a lot of us go through other things that are going on in our head, whether physical, mental. And we're here at Outpatient Therapy to help you, the listener, learn more about the voice actors, not just behind the mic, but in their regular lives as well. Jim?
Absolutely.
Cue it off.
And when the day gets long and shit gets real, you gotta
punch every day in the face.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's show.